Hey, this is Michael League from Snarky Puppy, and you're watching Activist Magazine. It's about freshness, you know, it's about keeping things moving forward and evolving. For me, when I'm creating something new, or when I'm listening to something and I get the sense that it's new, it's just the feeling that the artist is pushing themselves in a direction that's progressive and forward moving. So I kind of think of art or this band or anything as like sharks, you know, when you stop swimming you die, you know, so it's like movement is life, you know, things always have to move forward. I saw a really interesting interview with Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, and he was saying that all music is political. He was saying that if you're not opposing the status quo, then you're complicit in it. Like if you're like, you know, a pop star that's just doing bubblegum stuff, you're actually still making political music, but you're kind of supporting the status quo, which was fascinating to me. And so I kind of agree with them in that, and I agree that things always have to push. They have to push or they die. That said, I think the band, from traveling so much, the band has developed political opinions that are different from if we had just stayed in the United States, you know. So I think there are undercurrents of messages in the music, but they might not be super specific. You know, I mean, it might just be more in the way that we run, that we function, the way that we function as a band, or the way that we perform, like in terms of giving everybody on the stage space to be who they are, but also following the forms of the compositions, and you know. But I mean, and more I think we're getting involved in political causes. I tried to stay out of it for a long time, but now I feel that it's, especially with the way the world's going, it's kind of important to stand up for peaceful and unifying things. If you only live in one place or only see one place your whole life, you come to judge the world according to that place, you know. But then when you travel to many places, you start to get a better perspective on the real spectrum, you know. I mean, if 10 years ago, if you asked me, is the United States liberal or conservative, I would have said, well, we're centrist. Of course, we have liberals and we have conservatives, but we're centrist. We're moderate, but actually we're super conservative. You know, I mean, compared to Europe, we'd probably be considered the most conservative nation in Europe if we were a part of Europe, you know. It's kind of like silly that people would judge a nation based on their politicians. In a way it makes sense, because at the end of the day, people are voting for them, but every nation has its Donald Trumps. Every nation, you know, has its Putins. Every nation has its Bernie Sanderses. You know, there's the political parties that are anti-immigrant and like kind of like racial purity, and you know, and then there's parties that are super liberal and social reform and, you know, economic equality, and every country has all of those things. You know, human beings are the same wherever you go. For us, it's about the idea that we have a responsibility to pass on whatever we've learned from our experiences to the next generation of musicians, you know, so that they can save some time, you know, and not have to go through everything that we've gone through to learn those things, just the way that we were taught by our mentors and our teachers and our professors, you know. For me, it's more about like social obligation. Whenever you hear something that feels like it could go on forever and it would be fine, to me that's what groove is. You know, if it lasts 10 seconds or 10 years, it's all the same, then that's groove to me.